All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering your tips, tactics, and strategies that I've learned in my 20-plus year-long real estate journey that have allowed me to personally sell over 7,000 homes and become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet, and sharing this information here on the GSD Mode podcast with you in hopes that you take this information in, that you take massive action on it, and go out there and create those real estate businesses in life that you truly know that you want and deserve. All right, so today I'm here to talk to you about the top 10 struggles realtors are facing right now in 2024 and how to overcome them. Now, I first want to break down how I came up with these top 10 struggles, because I want you to know that these aren't just something I pulled out of the air. These aren't just guesses. If you've been watching or listening to this podcast for some time, you know that all throughout this year, I've offered here on the podcast 100% free 1 hour long Zoom coaching calls to anybody that needs my help and needs my support. And to date, I have performed 532 of these free Zoom coaching calls. Now, when anybody signs up for one of these free Zoom coaching calls with me, I have them do an intake survey form where I ask them a series of questions. So then that way I'm extremely well prepared for when they show up. I know what to dive in on inside their business, where their biggest hurdles are, what their biggest struggles are, so we can maximize and optimize that time together. And one of the questions I ask in that survey is that pre-coaching, free coaching call survey is, what is the current biggest obstacle and or obstacles that you are facing right now inside your real estate business that you need to get dialed in right away to take your business to the next level? So got 532 surveys with in-depth responses on that. So those survey responses are a big part of the data collection on doing the research on what the top 10 struggles are, as well as, okay, I've got over 800 coaching clients, 803 to be exact, inside my real estate business mastery bootcamp coaching program, which is hands down the most effective and affordable coaching program in the industry. So if you need support, if you need help, it's there for you. If you want to take advantage of that. Sorry, I had to do a little shameless plug. We're all in real estate, all in sales here. Got to go out there and plug. But obviously having daily conversations, weekly conversations, in-depth conversations, with coaching clients that are all over the US, all over Canada as well. Plus being a team leader, it's like, okay, there's not a week that goes by that I'm not recruiting agents, and a lot of new agents or struggling agents. That's typically who's looking to join a team to turn their situation around. So having in-depth conversations with my own internal agents. Plus, there's not a week that goes by that I'm not, asked to be a guest speaker at a mastermind or at a conference and having conversations with realtors. So again, these are just from in-depth conversations that I'm having with those just like you and I in the real estate industry right now in this challenging market, challenging time that we are in, and breaking down and having those in-depth conversations about their biggest struggles. All right, so real quick before I jump into these struggles, if you want more free training, more free resources, if you enjoy the content here on the podcast, I highly encourage you to go check out gsdmode.com. That's my website. And on there, again, that website's designed for real estate professionals, real estate agents, team leaders, broker owners, lots of free additional training resources on there. And on there, you can also schedule that 1 hour Zoom free coaching call with me. If you need that additional help and support, I encourage you to go out there and do that before those go away. Okay. So with that being said, let's just dive on in. And look, with these 10 different struggles, look, these all 10 might be something that you're struggling with, or you might identify a few of these that you're struggling with, but I will go not just covering what the struggle is that people are experiencing, but want to give you some top advice to turn this thing around. Okay, so struggle number 1, lack of quality leads. Now, I first want to lead off with this because this is the number 1 struggle. This is each of these are stacked in priority of the percentage of people that are struggling with them. So the number 1 biggest obstacle that people are facing right now when they're reaching out to me through these surveys and through these conversations is, again, lack of quality leads. Now, I want you to understand this. It's not necessarily that the lead quality has changed. It's just that the game has changed that we have entered. So if you look at the unaffordability crisis that we are in right now, because it is the most unaffordable time to be alive as a U.S. citizen or a citizen in North America, so whether in the U.S. or Canada, it is the most unaffordable time in recorded history to be alive and just trying to live life and operating and getting by here in North America. So with that being said, depending on what market that you're in, transaction volume has been wiped out about 40 to 50%. So what this means is there's about 40 to 50%, again, depending on what market that you're in, what area in, but there's 40 to 50% lesser people that are able and or willing to partake in today's housing market due to the overall economy, due to the inflation, due to all this craziness. It's not just the high inflated prices of real estate and high interest rates. That's a big part of it, but it's also every time you go to the grocery store, every time you go out to eat, like life is just getting so out of control expensive. So there's just lesser and lesser people, a smaller percentage of the pie that are able to partake in the overall real estate market. So that definitely, again, it's not that the lead quality is so low. It's just that all that low hanging fruit is dried up. 2012 till the middle of 2022 was the longest bull market in recorded history, longest real estate expansion in recorded history. It was just easy street. It was so damn easy. You could kind of show up, kind of be committed, kind of be consistent, have half-ass skill sets and go out there and make multiple six figures. Well, those days are over and gone. And we probably will never see anything like that again for the rest of our lifetime. Again, that was the longest bull market in recorded history inside the United States. So with that being said, what the solution is, you got one of two options. And either option, not here to judge, like you got one or two options. Now I'm going to go with option two, but option one is an option for you. So, okay, you can continue doing the same thing in the same way. Just understand then that you've got to adjust for the differential of the percentage of human beings that are unable to partake in the housing market. So what I mean by this, to simplify this, is, okay, you just essentially got to do double the amount of lead gen, double the amount of lead gen activities, double the ad spend, double the prospect, like whatever it is, whether you're doing free methods, paid methods, whatever it is, you got to generate twice as many leads and do twice as much follow-up to go out there and essentially get the same result that you were used to prior to, interest rates going up in 2022, kind of middle of year, depending on what market they're in, middle of 2022 or quarter, 3-4 of 2022, again, depending on what market that you're in. That's where things shifted and changed. And we pivoted in this new environment, new market that we're in right now. So again, option number one is just to continue doing the same things. Just do twice as much of them, twice as much lead gen, generate twice as many leads, twice as many activities, do twice as much follow-up for the same result. Otherwise, if you continue doing the same things in the same way that you were doing before, your business is going to be down 40, 50, 60%. Now, option number two, that this is being more strategic, and this is the option that I personally have taken, and this is the option that you hear me talk a lot about here on the podcast, but it's switching to what I call strategic offense. So this is a market now where we don't want to shotgun things out. Like, we just have to be more strategic. We have to be more intentional. We got to be more focused. We got to work smarter. So switching our overall strategies to he or she that has the highest probability of needing our services in this market. So let's just say, for example, I'm going after sellers. I want to go out there and get more listings. Okay, there are 5 overall sources right now where there's the highest level of urgency, where there are people that need to go out there and buy and sell, or need to sell, need to buy, versus those that want. This is a market now where we've got to pivot and shift to those that need to buy and sell, not just those that want. So I get, I'm talking to real estate agents. I'm like, look, dude, if you're doing a lot of lead gen, because it's something I hear a lot about, like, oh, I'm doing so much lead gen and having so many conversations with people, but nobody's motivated, and there seems to be no urgency. I'm like, look, if nobody's motivated and nobody has urgency, you're targeting the wrong people. Now you continue going down that path, just understand you're going to have to work twice as hard to have the same result. So instead I'm going to pivot to those that need to buy and sell based on situation. Their current situation deems what's necessary or has a high probability that they need our services. So then that creates urgency. So like I was saying, an example with the 5, seller niches right now, you got for sale by owners and expireds, always been great, still are currently great. Now we don't necessarily know why they are selling, but we know that they've raised their hand, that they have a need to go out there and sell, right now. But then from there, okay, we got absentee owners. You got people going through a divorce, and then you got pre-foreclosures. Again, these are all just like people going through a divorce as an example. Okay, that is a life situation change where the probability of them needing to sell to split that asset as they go through this life situation change is very high. So when I'm going after buyers, right, I'm going after, people, again, that need to sell, reloads, people that are relocating to do a job, or they can no longer stand the state that they're in, whatever that may be. Again, targeting those that need our services at the highest level. Now, it's not just enough to make sure that we are targeting those right people, that's what I'm talking about, being strategic. Okay, we're pivoting our strategies to those that have a higher probability of needing our services. But then from there, this is a game right now of strategy, process, and skill set. So this is what I call the three-legged stool of client acquisition. And all three of these must be dialed in if you want to go out there and convert at the highest possible level. So you got to make sure, number one, strategy, that you're targeting the right people that need our services, that have that sense of urgency. We've already talked about that. Number two, you got to make sure that you have the right overall process for that strategy, not just on the lead gen side, but also on the lead follow-up side. You got to do everything that you can to maximize conversions in this market. So making sure that you have that right proven process to maximize conversions per lead source, per lead strategy that you're implementing. Then the third component is making sure that you have the right skill set and or skill sets acquired to have success with that different lead gen source and or lead gen strategy. Again, this is a time of, a lot lesser people buying and selling. We still have a huge percentage of realtors. The number of realtors dropping out of the industry hasn't been at the same pace yet as transaction volume declines. So there's just more of us chasing lesser people that are able to go out there and buy and sell. So if you're not on your A game, okay, you're going to go out there and struggle. Okay, so that's my top advice there for how to go out there and overcome lack of quality of leads. Okay, so number two is economic uncertainty. Like we just talked about, this is now the most unaffordable time to be alive as a U.S. citizen. Most unaffordable time to be alive is, just operating life here in North America. And again, there's a lot of uncertainty. Now, when I'm saying uncertainty, I'm not talking about for buyers and sellers. Yes, this carries over to them. I'm talking about this being an obstacle for real estate agents, for real estate professionals, due to inflation, due to interest rates, due to, crazy presidential campaign crap and assassinations. And we are just amongst crazy, interesting times, like the old Chinese proverb, which isn't a good thing. They use this like as a negative thing, but may you live amongst interesting times. Well, we are living amongst interesting times. The economy, everything's so volatile right now. Over 50% of our GDP is through government spending. Like shit is crazy right now. We don't know which way it's going to go. This thing could either explode, crash, boom, but we just know that, man, it's just rocky out there. Well, then this ends up creating a lot of uncertainty and a lot of doubt in real estate agents' minds. But this is really a mindset issue. You got to operate through the personal philosophy that there is no such thing as a good market. There is no such thing as a bad market. As a real estate professional, it is 100% your responsibility to identify whom the market is good for and then pivot, shift, and adapt your focus, your prospecting, your marketing to whom the market is good for. So again, there is no such thing as a good market, no such thing as a bad market. The market is always good for somebody. I hear so many right now inside of our industry just like, oh, I can't wait for the market to turn around. It was a good market. Now the market's just went to crap. Right? No, there's no good market. There's no bad market. The market's always good for somebody. You just haven't pivoted your strategy. It's not that the market is bad. It's that you have a bad strategy for the given market. You haven't adapted accordingly. And this becomes huge of making sure that we are pivoting, shifting, adapting. Look, what worked yesterday will not always work today. What works today will not always work tomorrow. So we got to make sure that we are shifting the strategy. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control the market. You cannot control interest rates. You cannot control who the president is. Neither can I. So I'm not going to then base my business on that. And what's going on with all of those things has zero impact on your overall business. The only time it has an impact on your business is when you do not adapt accordingly. You and you alone are whom determines the success of your business. You got to understand that success is always internal. It is not external. So it's your activities, your behaviors, your strategies that are determining your business. And I can promise you this. If you go search your MLS right now, there are, a certain set of realtors in your market crushing it and killing it and probably having the best year of their careers. So somebody's always winning, somebody's always losing. You just got to pick and choose which side that you are on. Okay, so struggle number 3 is lead follow-up. So, man, I'm, generating, a lot of leads. I'm getting a lot of leads, but man, I just can't convert these into clients. Now, this is, when I hear people that come to me with this obstacle, I always get excited, not because I'm struggling with this, but what this shows me is that they're not blaming the quality of leads. Because look, at the end of the day, there is no such thing as a lack of quality leads, right? I've never really met anybody their primary full issue is leads. The vast majority, I don't want to say I've never met anybody, but it's very, very rare. The vast majority's biggest issue is their inability to convert those leads into appointments, convert those appointments into clients, right? So it's our inability to follow up effectively to go out there and convert those. So it just shows me when people identify this as an obstacle inside their real estate business, that they're spending some time to peel back the onion layers to see, where that root core cause is. All right, so here's the key to overall follow-up. So per lead source, you got to make sure, we talked about this a little bit earlier when it came, I was talking about the three-legged stool to client acquisition, right? So per lead source, you got to understand what the timeline and psychology is per lead source. So the timeline allows you to identify how long and how frequent and in which mediums that you must follow up to nurture that lead properly to maximize conversions. So when I say timeline, here's an example of this. Okay, when I do my paid Facebook ads, the average paid Facebook lead is in my CRM for 6.7 months before they become a client. And then from there, it's about an average of 9 months from lead inception to payday. So I know that that is a longer term nurture source. So I got to make sure that I'm following up long enough with enough frequency and in the right mediums to have a high chance and a high probability at maximizing conversions per lead source. So many do not follow up with enough frequency and not in the right effective ways to go out there and maximize conversions. According to Zillow, the average realtor only follows up with one lead twice. Okay, that is not enough frequency. Like if I combine all different lead sources, now that's going to be different per lead source, but when I combine them all and I just look at the data inside my own real estate business, on average per lead, it is 60 reach outs, 6 conversations to 1 client taken. So it takes on average much more frequency than most people think inside their business. So many are just kind of a one and done. They're not following up on a long enough timeline with enough frequency to go out there and ever make a dent, in maximizing lead conversions. So we got to understand the timeline per lead source so we can make sure we're following up long enough with enough frequency and in the right mediums. And by mediums, I mean, phone calls, texts, emails, and those things. Okay. But then psychology per lead source is what's going on in that lead's mind based on the stage of the funnel that they're in. The psychology of that lead source then allows me to identify the right scripting and messaging to communicate with that particular lead. How I speak to a FSBO is way different than I speak to an expired. How I speak to an absentee owner is way different than somebody going through a divorce. How I speak to a Zillow buyer lead is way different than an open house lead, which is way different than a Facebook lead. All of these are at different phases, different stages, and have different things going on in their minds. So we got to make sure that we have the right messaging. So we're at this point, because we know timeline and psychology, that again allows us to know how long and how frequent and which mediums to follow up. The psychology allows us to know what our messaging, our scripting, our tone, all of those things to maximize conversions. And then the third component here is, okay, again, identify the skill set and or skill sets that you must acquire per source to go out there and have the most success with conversions within that source. And then you got to wrap all that up, into a proven process and wrap that up into a system. It's very, very difficult to be effective and efficient and consistent with lead follow-up, without the right system. And this is where, CRMs come to place inside of our real estate businesses. So some top tips there for you. And again, you guys, like I'm speaking in generalizations here, because look, we can all have different strategies. We all have different strengths. We all have different situations. We all have different, strengths, weaknesses, goals, all of these different things. So if you want for me to be able to really hone in and dial in and help you get dialed in on this stuff based on your own business, your goals, your unique situation, again, go to www.gsdmode.com, schedule a free 60-minute long Zoom coaching call with me where we can take that time, when I say we, meaning you and I, and do a deep dive in your business and make sure that you've got the right strategy and in place for all of this stuff inside your business. Okay, so struggle number 4 is time management. So first thing here, and I get it. When we're brand new in the beginning, it's like, okay, we got an abundance of time, but when we're short on money, but then very quickly, okay, we start getting really busy. Now we kind of solved that money problem, but then we don't have enough time, right? So this for those that start producing at a decent level, this quickly becomes an issue for them. Also, some top tips here. Number one is to understand that there is no such thing as time management. There is only choice management. You and I have the same 24 hours in a day. Well, how is it that, I've got 6 different businesses and doing all of these different, right? It's just, I've just learned how to choose to utilize my time better than I did, when I was first starting out this journey. Like, like Elon Musk has the same amount of hours in a day as you or I do. How does that dude get so much done? He chooses to utilize his time much more effectively and efficiently than we do. So the first thing is just understand there's no such thing as time management. You cannot manage the fact that there's 24 hours a day, 168 hours in a week, but you 100% can control how you choose to utilize your time. And I recommend that you do a weekly time study, 168 hours a week, reverse out, how much time that you're committed to working and sleeping, and see how much time that you have available. I take people through a weekly, I'm not going to take you right now because in essence of time, a weekly time study. But when I take people through it, they're always shocked about how much extra time that they have. Then I'm like, okay, what we got to pay attention to is how much time that you are wasting so we can allocate more time to the right things. All right. So first thing here though, first thing is just having awareness that, choose to utilize your time in the most effective manner. Then from there, you got to get clarity on what is that you want, why it's important to you. The more clarity that you have, the easier it is to know exactly what to say yes to and what to say no to. It's either yes, 100%, this aligns with me getting me one step closer to making my goals a reality, or it's a hell no. Right? So the more clarity that you have in all aspects of your life, then it just makes it very quick and easy of what to say yes to and what to say no to. Then from there, you got to win the day. So never enter a day without that day being fully committed to paper first. Most people are just operating by the seat of their pants. They're just showing up the office. So I'm going to work hard today. What am I going to do? And then they just react like a chicken with their head cut off all damn day long. They're just what I call Pop-Tart realtors. They just pop up when anything needs them. Then they're just reactive all damn day long. No, operate with intention. So before I end my business day, before I go home and spend time with my family, the last thing that I do, I reflect on the day that I did for my performance. And so I can get from the day. But then from there, I map out and I plan out from the second I wake up to the second I go to bed, what must happen for tomorrow to be a win, have all that committed to my calendar. So I'm making sure that I am, winning that day. The secondary element of this or the next element, I guess I'm on the third element here. So the next thing is to make sure that you have a strategy plan with precision. This is also a huge reason as to why I'm seeing people that struggle with choice management, not time management, but choice management, is they do not have a plan with precision. What do I mean by a plan with precision? You must have your strategy plan, AKA business plan, dialed in to the point where you must know what you got to do to win each and every single day. You should know exactly how many leads you need to generate per source on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You should know exactly how many reach outs that you must have each and every day, how many conversations you need to have every single day, appointments set that you need to have every single day to go out there and win. So it's like, okay, every day you got to know what you got to do to win or lose. So then that way you can operate with that level of precision to ensure that you are winning. All right. So then the next element is to make sure that you are being proactive, which I know it's difficult because we're in a very reactive industry, but you got to be as proactive as you possibly can. So an example of this, let's just say I get up, I'm talking with a lead, setting an appointment. I'm not going to ever ask them, oh, well, what time works for you? What's best for you? It's like, hey, I got this time and this time available this afternoon. Does one of those work for you? No, that doesn't. Okay, I got this time and this time available tomorrow. Does one of those work for you? I'm going to do everything I can to control my overall calendar. Then from there, when it comes to planning out my calendar, and I've created podcasts on this, so I'm not going to go super deep into this right now, but win your day by noon. I want to stack all the most essential activities that I need to do as early on in the day as I possibly can. So making sure all my lead gen, especially my lead follow and or prospecting, calls are done, like the client updates, all of that stuff is done before noon. So then noon on, what I call pounding the pavement time, that's what I'm going to do, like on my buyer consultations, listing presentations, property showings, all of that stuff, stacking that stuff in the afternoon. And why would I do that? It's twofold. Number one, we as human beings have more willpower early in the day. So like do the hard things first. The thing that sucks, for at least for me and for most in this industry, are prospecting and or lead follow-up calls, right? So it's like getting those harder things out of the way first. why we have the most willpower. The secondary reason is the longer the day goes on, the more distractions are that you are going to have, the more fires that come up, so then, okay, let's just make sure that, okay, even my day goes to hell after 12 noon, like today's still a win. I still got all my KPIs done. Last thing that I'll say here is making sure that you're saying no to non-essential things that actually move the needle forward for your goals to be a reality. So yeah, we got to know what to say yes to, but even more importantly, we got to know what to say no to. So much of success is in your ability to say no. Okay, so struggle number 5 is a lack of effective systems and processes. Okay, so I'll be quick on this one, but it's really important. So yes, you need to build out a process and system-based business, but the reason why people struggle with this is because they don't actually know effectively what systems and processes even are and how to implement them inside their business. So it starts off with strategy. It goes in this exact order. Okay, so we have our strategy. Strategy is just over your overall effective plan. So we want to make sure that you have the most effective overall plan to accomplish whatever that result is that you are trying to accomplish inside your real estate business. Then from there, your processes are just step-by-step documentation of the strategies that you have in place. Then from there, those processes then live inside systems to ensure those processes are executed on the same way each and every single time in the most effective and efficient manner to ensure things do not get missed. So systems only exist to house your processes. Processes only exist to document what your strategies are. So when most people think they have a system and process problem, they truly have a strategy problem, right? So we got to make sure you got the right strategies. Then we got to make sure that we're documenting every step of those strategies. Boom, now those become your processes. So here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, here's step 4. Now the processes then determine what systems that you need to adopt and implement inside your business. So when somebody comes to me and says, well, what system do you what's the best system? What do you recommend for a system? I'm like, well, that's all dependent based on your processes and your strategies to make sure that you've got the best system, because the only way you can identify the best system is based on their strategies and processes, right? Because the system only exists to ensure those processes are executed in the same way each and every single time, the most effective, efficient manner to ensure things do not get missed. So people are just not methodical about this. So then next thing you know, they're spending all this damn money, pissing away, wasting all this damn money on a bunch of crap they don't know, they don't use, that maybe don't even have a place inside their business. Like less is more when it comes to this stuff. You want lesser systems. So then that way you can use them, learn them, and use them at a higher level. Like my whole entire business, even though we're moving, multiple properties every single day as a real estate team, my whole entire business is ran off of 4 total primary systems, right? So I want, as few systems as I possibly can, but making sure I got the right systems so then I can execute on them and live in them and execute on them in the highest possible level. Okay, so struggle number 6 is tech overload. So with all this tech, you got websites, we got CRMs, we got social media, we got AI, just kind of the exponential growth of AI inside of our businesses. Look, I get it, but it's necessary. I'm not one that believes that tech and AI is going to replace the real estate agent, but I'm truly convinced, I'm very confident in those that utilize tech, that utilize AI will replace those that don't inside of our industry. And I've created other podcasts about this. So again, I just want to kind of cover the main rocks here today. So here's the key with this. Let's just take social media as an example. Okay, well, how many social media platforms are out there? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what the numbers are. A shit ton. So then from there, though, do I need to really be on all of them? Do I need to go out there and master Instagram? Do I need to master Facebook? Do I need to master TikTok? Do I need to master YouTube? Like we got to be methodical with this. So like I don't master all the different platforms. I identify, okay, which platforms are my ideal clients on, because the average person has 8 different social media platforms that they subscribe to, but the average person, even though they have 8 that they're subscribed to, they have 1 primary, maybe 2, but typically 1 primary and 1 secondary. So I want to make sure that I'm showing up on that primary and then maybe the secondary. So like for my real estate business, dude, like when it comes to my real estate clients, like, dude, I'm deep into Facebook. Instagram is the secondary, right? So then from there, it's just, okay, like where's my ideal client at? And then also, does this way to go out there and reach the client make sense based on my strategy? So, the first thing is identifying tech based on your overall strategy, if it's necessary. And if that's a place you need to show up, or if this piece of tech will help you implement your strategy in a much more effective and efficient way, because we can't be experts at all things. So we got to be very methodical with this stuff. Then from there, just chunking down and simplifying this stuff. Complexity shuts us down. Complexity is really, the arch enemy of execution. So complexity leads to overwhelm. Overwhelm leads to procrastination. Procrastination is the disease of success. So we just want to simplify this stuff. So here's an example. Okay, CRMs, one of the reasons why CRMs create so much overwhelm is most CRMs out there can do hundreds, if not thousands of different things. Well, there's only 4 things that you need a CRM to do that's going to yield you 99.99% of your results. So why even worry about the other 996 things? It's like just these 4 things are super simple, super easy to get dialed in. It's like just dial in these 4 things that are going to yield you 99.9% of your results. Forget the other 996. Now, once you've mastered, you're dialing those things, you're kicking ass on those things, and then you want to start, learning a little bit more about some of the other things. Okay, fine. It's like, so many people come to me in the health and fitness realm, and they'll start talking about this biohacking stuff. And they're like, oh, Josh, you into biohacking, you into red light therapy, you into, cold plunges, and I'm like, look, dude, all of that stuff maybe makes a less than a 1% difference on overall health, fitness, energy, longevity. So no, I'm not going to waste, not that I haven't dabbled in those things, but I lost a lot of time dabbling in those things. Like I'm going to focus on the rocks, the most important elements, overall diet, overall activity, sleep, make sure my hormones are unbalanced. Like what are the main pillars? And then usually in pretty much any scenario, there's about 4, maybe 6 things in most cases that are the primary fundamental foundational kind of rocks that are going to yield you 99.9% of your results. That's what I mean by simplify. Like what are the, even though this thing could do 1,000 things, what are the 4 things that I need to dial in that's going to yield me the biggest results? It's going to yield me 99.9% of those results. So then I don't have to get distracted with the other 996 things that are going to yield me less than 1% of my results. That's what I mean by simplify. Okay. So struggle number 7 is increased competition. So we actually haven't seen an increased number of realtor count, as this market has shifted and changed over the last couple of years. But I understand and get what you're saying because things are more competitive. We're actually in the most competitive landscape that we've ever seen as a real estate industry. And what I mean by that, when we look at number of active listing volume, when we look at number of closed transactions on a month over month and year over year basis versus number of total licensees, we've never seen this percentage of competitiveness inside our overall industry. So again, we just have, we have a smaller amount of total licensees, total realtors in our industry, but we have a hell of a lot lesser number of actual transactions. So you got a bigger number of us, even let's just say same number of us, but fighting over a smaller pie. So it creates more competition, even though there's actually not more licensees with that. So transactions are down. This is just the landscape that we're in. So here's what you need to do. And then you got to double down on your skill set. You got to be all the things that we've already talked about. You got to double down on your skill set, making sure that you are, much more dialed in than your competitors. You got to make sure that you are operating with precision with your strategies, making sure that you got the right strategies based on the right market, based on this time right now in the right market. Got to make sure that you are doubling down and dialing your processes, walking through and identifying what your unique differentiators are. So like I'm in one of the most real estate markets per capita on the planet, 60,000 agents just inside my MLS. So I always got to be thinking about, okay, what differentiates me from the other 59,999 agents out there? Why would somebody choose me? Why would a buyer or seller choose me? So, okay, what are my unique differentiators, right? What's that superior skill set? What is any reason? I'm just trying to eliminate any reason as to why they would say no to me and yes to a competitor. So this really comes down to going pro. And here's the thing is, yes, I get that there is technically a lot of competition out there. But when we really start breaking it down, like if you go into your MLS and you start chunking down, okay, the number of realtors that have closed 12 transactions in the last 12 months, then 24 transactions in the last 12 months, then 36, then 48, like that number whittles down very, very damn quick. So there is a very, very low number of actual true professionals that treat their business as a business, that take the time to master their craft, that are running a processed and system-based business, that are, again, treating their business as a business, and they're operating as true professionals. This is why 7% of this industry makes 93% of the income, 93% makes 7% of the income, because 93% of this industry are just amateurs. And I would even argue that it's more like 95% of our industry is just amateurs. So when you commit to going pro, then from there, you have really no competition because there's such a small percentage that are truly committed. Now, you and I can't control the number of licensees. You and I cannot control the number of transactions that are taking place and within our overall markets. But what you can control is your commitment to going pro, your commitment to truly mastering your craft, your commitment to truly mastering your strategies, your commitment to making sure that you got world-class presentations, processes, and systems dialed in inside your business. You can control your behaviors, your actions, what you do, what you focus on, and that's it. Right. And then also your attitude. Right. But that's about all. That's about all that we have control over in this world. So control the controllables. And by doing this, you will go out there and dominate your competitors and have no competition. Okay. So we're almost done here. We're on number 8. So number 8 reason for struggle right now is uncertainty around commissions with all the NAR lawsuit stuff. And the reality, I beat this topic to death here on the podcast, so I'll be decently quick with this. But the reality is this, is the pros, people that are going pro, that are truly committed, those of us that are going pro right now, we're making more money with these changes. Amateurs are making less money. So this, again, goes back to what I just talked about with, the last item there of committing to going pro. So just making sure that you are extremely well educated on every one of the new stipulations, on the new rules of engagement inside your market. We got to be educated on the NAR level, but being educated on our state level and our local level. You got to make sure that you got your processes dialed in so that doesn't decrease your overall capacity, because this is creating more work for all of us. Quickest way to increase capacity is through processes. So this will ensure that you're not taking a dip of income level because of this. Then from there, you got to assess each one of your strategies and see, okay, how do I need to shift up and change up my strategy based on these new rules of engagement? And then from there, again, dialing your skill set, dialing your negotiation abilities, dialing your unique selling propositions, dialing in your skill set, committing to going pro. Because I can tell you this, from a selfish standpoint, like, dude, these new NAR rules have been a great damn thing, for me and my business personally. I mean, I've gotten a big raise overnight from this. It's made it way easier to articulate our value. It's made way easier to differentiate ourselves from our competitors. It's made it way easier from a positioning level to charge what I believe that I'm truly worth, inside my real estate business, so it's all led to going out there and making more money. So don't let this be a reason as to why, this is a massive opportunity right now for us. So I'll leave it at that. Okay. So item number 9 here. All right. Sorry, I had to pause that for a second. So item number 9 here is burnout and overall mindset issues, right? So burnout exists, and I get it. There's a lot of, mindset, motivational issues, but a lot of this is leading to burnout. As I start unpacking the layers and diving deep into what people's true issues are with this, so many right now are experiencing burnout. Now, it's really important to understand what burnout is. Burnout can feel a lot like depression. The difference is burnout was work-related. How you can quickly tell if you are suffering from depression or burnout is, okay, when you are depressed, you are going to lose all elements of joy in all aspects of your life. Now, with both burnout and depression, you're going to see a loss of energy, a loss of empathy, and you're going to have a lack of just overall joy. So you're going to experience those 3 things with both depression and burnout. But burnout, definition of burnout is, or at least how the medical industry defines it is 100% work related, even though, again, it feels a lot like depression. But how you can tell this is, okay, if you're still finding joy and happiness in outside work activities that you like, hobbies, other things that you enjoy, but then from there, let's understand why burnout exists. Burnout exists when you are taking action, but you are not seeing the expected reward. So yeah, when you are showing up each and every single day and you're working hard and you're just getting kicked in the teeth and you're getting defeated and you're getting rejected and you're not getting any results, you do that for a long enough period of time and burnout is going to happen to all of us. So the key here is to make sure that you're being intentional and methodical by identifying the right proven strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. So make sure that you have the right strategy, you're targeting the right people based on the economic situation. So you've got the right overall strategy and you're executing on that strategy in the right way with the right process, and you've developed the right skill set. So then that way you can go out there and start seeing those quick, more immediate rewards and getting that feedback, which then avoids burnout. The secondary thing here, because it's not just burnout that people are experiencing. I'm having conversation. That's the number 1 thing. But the number 2 thing is just overall lack of motivation, overall lack of drive, overall lack of ambition. This is, primarily caused, burnout. It can be one of the causes, but let's just say you're not burnout but you're still lacking motivation and drive. Look, this might sound a little funky, but you got to detach from your tech. You got to detach from your tech every single day. And what I mean by this is my recommendation is the first hour when you wake up, that you do not touch any technology. You don't touch your phone. You don't just be with yourself, be with your own thoughts. We are now in a stage of humanity where people can't be bored anymore. They can't be with themselves and their own thoughts for 5 minutes. So I've got some hard rules. Okay. First hour of every single morning, no phone, no technology, no phone, just being with your own thoughts, silence, whatever, go for a walk, just processing your own thoughts. This is also going to help you sleep a lot better too. That'll just kind of happen as a secondary factor. Okay. When you go to the bathroom, no phones, right? Just force yourself to be in boredom, to think things through, right? Then when it comes to, and if you're able to, so another rule of mine is, okay, I personally don't allow myself to touch any tech until my core work is done. So what I mean by that is, I got it. Like right now I'm doing work and I'm on a computer right now, streaming on StreamYard, doing this podcast. All this is tech. But what I mean by this is, okay, before I start my workday, no tech. And then, I'm using tech for my workday, but no entertainment, none of that, just getting my core work done. And then when I'm utilizing technology after work for maybe entertainment, like checking social media for entertainment or watching TV, all those kind of dopaminergic surging activities for my personal life, I'm going to wait to do any of those until my core work is done for the day, right? This is going to keep your dopamine levels high, where you're going to be able, or the highest throughout the day, so you can apply those to the activities that you need them to, and it's going to give you that mental energy. Plus, when it comes to, just like that overall drive and ambition, you got to be able to identify and have clarity on what your purpose is in order to go out there and really tap into that fire that you're looking for. But when we are just distracted with external circumstances all day long through external stimuli, it's very difficult to be able to gain clarity on what it is that we truly want. I'm telling you, I promise you this. All the answers about what you want, your why, your purpose, your mission for your life are found internal. They are not found external. You're not going to find those on YouTube. You're not going to find them in a book. You're not going to find them on a podcast. You got to do the deep damn work, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up adopting other people's goals. You're going to adopt society's goals, or what some douche on, Instagram, or what I told you as a goal, right? Me being the douche, right? Like whatever. Only you can define what success means for you and for your life. So you got to detach from tech, and you got to make sure that you have that right strategy. And then from there, take self-care. Self-care is so important. My recommendation is to start, output equals input, man. So start being cognizant of what you put in your mouth. Diet's twofold: what you put in your mouth, but also what you're feeding your mind, right? So, we need to go on an information diet, making sure we're not, just getting junk information, make sure we're not just getting junk food. I'm not going to go too deep into self-care, because you guys all, know what to do there, right? When it comes to that, and I've got other podcasts on that, but making sure that you're taking care of yourself as well there. Okay. So then the last one here, an item or struggle number 10, finally getting down the list. I know that this is longer than I anticipated, but that's how these podcasts typically roll, because I don't want to, I like to go deeper with you guys to give you, actual steps of what you can execute on. The last one is managing client expectations. So this is going to be more on the listing side right now. So what I'm getting so many struggles from agents right now is, man, I can't get my sellers to price their homes effectively. We just got to go out there and make sure that we are managing expectations. It's our job to be the professional, unemotional leaders. We've got to lead the process. So the vast majority of the United States right now is transitioning from a seller's market that we're in from 2012 till really, recently, until this year, and transitioning before our eyes into a buyer's market. So if your market is softening, that means your market is declining. It's the beginning phase of declining. So 95% of the country right now is either in the beginning phase of a decline or is already well into that decline. So we're transitioning into a buyer's market. So like in my market right now, it's like, okay, it's not just about looking at the sold comps and the pending comps. Yeah, we got to look at that stuff, but it's not even being priced at market value to sell right now. We got to look at the active comps. And right now, we got to make sure that we are the best price damn thing on the market. We got to be below market to move listing inventory right now because listing inventory is stacking so damn fast. Transaction volume is continuing to decline while listing inventory is continuing to spike, and this happens. And if this happens at this run rate, won't be too long before we're in an all out market crash. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if this trend continues, that's exactly where we are heading. But with that, then, okay, I got to make sure I'm leading that process. I got to make sure my clients are educated in the right way, setting those right expectations, making sure that they're priced right. If they're not priced right out of the gate, or maybe I think that they're priced right out of the gate. Okay, this is where I'm doing weekly updates with every one of my seller clients. Here's the comps. Here's where we're at. Here's the strategy for the next week. Like, we got to go out there. We got to be very, very proactive with this stuff. You also got to be very proactive at making sure when I talk about leading that process, okay, to go out there and move a listing, it's not just pricing, it's also product and promotion. So I got to be proactive at making sure my clients are making their product look at its absolute best within their means. Now they may not be able to afford to go out there and paint and carpet and all of this shit, but they can absolutely put in the elbow grease. They can absolutely wash their windows, clean their baseboards. They absolutely can declutter. And if they're not willing to, okay, I got to have those hard conversations with them and talk about those negative implications on how that unwillingness might cost them tens of thousands of dollars, or may even result in their home not selling at all in the market climate that we are in. So setting those realistic expectations with your clients, which is your job. You are the unemotional professional. It's your job to guide your clients and provide them and arm them with the information that is necessary that they need to go out there and accomplish their real estate goals. That's where they're hiring us. So it's not just about having the conversation. Like, it's not just about telling people what they want to hear. It's about telling them what they need to hear. And we have to go out there and lead that process, and we have to be very proactive with it. So it's your job to manage client expectations, from communication, to, whatever it is. This is where, again, make sure you have those documented processes for every single thing. So when I'm working with a buyer client, a seller client, it's like, okay, we've got our strategies in place. We've got our processes in place. It's like, okay, when a buyer client, as soon as they, sign that buyer broker, they're pre-qualified and they're told exactly how the home showing process is going to go. We have a survey process that we walk them through each property that then leads us into identifying the core one for them. Then we have our overall offer writing protocol, our overall offer writing process that we go through with, right? Like, each one of these is to lead us effectively and efficiently to accomplishing our clients' goals. And the same thing on the listing side, but it's education, man. You got to educate. You got to be informed and educated on what their goals are, what their situation is, what their timeline is, what winning looks like for them. But you got to make sure that they're educated as well, and not just the process, but your internal process. And you got to be upfront. And there's a way to do this in a very, I got to tell people what they need to hear, not just want to hear, but I can do it in a very tactful, professional manner, with that. So we got to make sure that we're leading the process and being the unemotional professionals. All right, so these are the top 10 struggles that realtors are facing right now in 2024. I hope that you found this valuable. And again, if you're looking for additional free trainings, resources, I highly encourage you guys to go to gsdmode.com and register for my 6 steps to 3xing or more your real estate business here in 2024. So in that, I'm going to walk you through. It's a 3-hour-long masterclass. For here in the market that we're in. I'm going to help you design and figure out how to come up with USPs, how to design and figure out your ideal client, come up with a strategy so that we know exactly what to focus on and what to implement and what to execute. And I designed that whole masterclass where then the whole presentation becomes kind of your playbook to execute on afterwards. So at the end of the training, I make sure that you don't just have the information that that you're going to get delivered to you on the training, but then I make sure that you have the playbook and the resources to execute after the fact as well. So I highly encourage you to check that out. That's at gsdmode.com. You'll see it there on the front page. And then also, again, if you are looking for some one-on-one help, I've got my one-on-one free coaching Zoom call that I'd be happy to jump on with you. I'm only going to do these for about another 30 days. I was going to cut them off 10 days ago, but I've had so many of you reaching out asking if I would extend these and continue doing these. So I decided to keep them going for a little bit longer, but I can't keep them going for that much longer. Not that I don't love them. I do love helping you guys on these. I do love performing them. But they're, it's about three to 4 hours of my time commitment a day. And, with multiple businesses and kids, man, it's just unsustainable for me to continue doing these. So if you want to take advantage of it, you go to, again, gsdmode.com, sign up for that as well. All right, guys, truly appreciate you. Hopefully this was helpful. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.